Companies depend upon their stakeholders' support in order to flourish in the business world. How does a company create positive, supportive relationships with stakeholders? It does not just happen. In fact, a lot of work goes into creating a successful collaboration between organizations and stakeholders. This lesson, you will learn how businesses can build collaborative relationships with stakeholders through engagement, dialogue, and network building. Stakeholder engagement is the building of two-way relationships between organizations and stakeholders. In order to say that a company is partaking in stakeholder engagement, they must be working with at least one stakeholder group, such as employees, investors, or the community. Munchie Natural Bars is a manufacturer of healthy food snack bars. They are a relatively new company that is trying to grow their business through developing stakeholder relationships. They know the benefits to stakeholder engagement include higher productivity and the ability to more easily reach corporate goals. Let's see their plan in action. Stakeholders are not immediately in love with a business. Just like in real relationships, a business relationship with stakeholders develops over time through stages. The stages are inactive. Munchie Natural Bar's first year after launching the business was in an inactive stage. The company treated their stakeholders with little regard to any problems or concerns. The company preferred to operate as an island and not engage government, community, investors, or even their customers. Their only concern was producing and selling bars. Reactive. By the second year of business, Munchie realized that they could not ignore all stakeholders. They were losing investors and receiving poor reviews from their customers. The company entered into the reactive stage, where Munchie only responded to stakeholders when they had to, and usually in an unprofessional or defensive way. For example, Munchie had also launched a protein shake to miserable sales. Most stakeholders were pushing for the company to cut its losses and drop the new product. Munchie only agreed to quiet the stakeholders and customers, not because they believed it was a good idea. Proactive. In the third year, a new CEO was hired to try and revive the company's profits and products. The CEO also felt that the company needed to develop proactive relationships with their stakeholders by trying to predict and respond to their concerns. The new CEO, Nate Ural, was able to create an open-door policy that helped the stakeholders communicate directly with management. For example, Nate actually asked for recommendations and ideas for new products directly from the different stakeholders groups. He was successful at creating stakeholder dialogue, where his company and stakeholders meet face-to-face frequently to discuss issues and problems. For example, Nate holds employee open houses where employees can stop by and ask questions about any company issues. His plan was so effective that it provided Munchie with the final stage of collaborative relationships. Interactive. Munchie was able to successfully move into the final stage of collaborative relationships with their stakeholders, called interactive. This is where Munchie worked constantly with stakeholders to develop trust, honesty, and participation. The company has been able to launch new products, build new factories and distribution centers, and has exceptional ties to their customers and local community. Nate also believes in creating stakeholder networks by utilizing expertise of different stakeholder groups to work collaboratively to solve problems and issues. He was able to use his stakeholder networks to solve training issues in his factories. The final result for Munchie is a long-term productive relationship with all of their stakeholder groups. Oh, and the successful launch of Munchie cereal. Companies need to ensure that they build collaborative relationships between organizations and stakeholders. This can be accomplished through stakeholder engagement, which is the building of a two-way relationship between organizations and stakeholders. The building of engagement is a process that takes place over many different stages. Inactive stage is where the company treats their stakeholders with little regard to any problems or concerns. Reactive stage is when a company only responds to stakeholders when they have to and usually in an unprofessional or defensive way. Proactive stage is when companies try to predict and respond to stakeholder concerns. Interactive stage is where a company works constantly with stakeholders to develop trust, honesty, and participation.